everybody. Is this a surprise party for me? It's not my birthday.
Yeah, that's why it's such a surprise.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys.
Yeah. So glad you could make it on such short notice.
I had no idea this was happening.
Yeah.
I'm shocked right now.
Yeah, you didn't think anybody cared about you.
That's wild. Thanks for being here. This is so cool.
Sorry we all led you to believe that.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. That's Tim. I'm Anthony. You are you. And that's enough. We're here at the Bible is Funny podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the Bible, Tim.
That's what I thought.
That's what we do. A little segment we call Cheat Day Devos. I always like to give time. I like to give space, though, before we dive right into work. Is there anything we need to discuss beforehand?
There's so much at hand in the world today. No, I mean, we don't have to talk about it, but there was a funny thing where my daughter, my youngest one, she's not a Swiftie yet, but her older sister is definitely diehard. So we listen to a lot of Taylor Swift songs, and that's what a Swiftie is.
Yeah, Swiftie is
anybody who wasn't sure. And so I'm like giving my youngest one a bath the other day, and she's like 5 or something probably, and she goes, I actually do know how old my kid is. We're supposed to laugh at that. So I go, hey, where do we live? And her response was, Florida. It was pretty awesome.
Come on.
It was funny. It was great execution on the joke. I also we play that song a lot. I don't know if it's like kind of our anthem a little bit, so I feel like I have to let my kids hear it. But it's also like not rated for kids.
Oh, there's like murder.
Oh, there's also like the F-bomb in there dropped all over the place. And
sure.
I don't care about that.
But it's like that's why it's the song about Florida. Like, you're not going to do a song about Florida that's like
right.
Nice.
The opening lyric to that song is like, my friends all smell like weed or babies.
Yeah.
And
you're like,
maybe a little bit of both.
We've introduced the concept.
Welcome to Florida. But I don't know if she really means, well, anyway, I don't know what she means, but
it's gardening, those weeds. That's what you're getting at?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if her friends, if she was talking about her friends in Florida or friends, because they talk about going down to Destin. I know this is going to be trippy for some of you. Destin is north.
It's north for us.
So if you're down, then you're like in the upper part of the panhandle or something.
I just like what a measurable like progression of Taylor Swift. So it was like she's Nashville based. I think Pennsylvania. She was like born.
Yeah.
She's like in Nashville for a long time. Gets successful. Goes to New York. Welcome to New York. And then what happens? You go to New York and you get a lot of money. You get a place in Florida. That's like she very much like. There's a track.
Yeah. And
then you get your place in Florida, and now you're like one of these New Yorkers who spends time.
I think she bought Rhode Island too, didn't she?
Can't be that expensive. It's not that big.
If you're listening and you live in Rhode Island, will you let us know if she bought?
I hear Rhode Island's like great. I like people. Rachel's been there a bunch. What's the town? You got like one town
Providence.
Out there. It's not that one. There's another one. But anyway, yeah, I hear Rhode Island's nice. Yeah, sure. She got a song about Florida. I liked it. And then her in the Post Malone song, she references Florida as well, right? The Fortnite, she talks about something about Florida.
Yeah, well, but it's funny. So we'll also listen to it in the car, and my oldest likes to read the lyrics as the song is going on.
Yeah.
So she'll read the lyrics, and it's just, a few F-bombs here and there.
Yeah, she'd be cursing on that new one.
Yeah, which again is fine by me, but for my 8-year-old, probably shouldn't let her read it. But also, we've gone over this before. We've even talked about it on the podcast. It's just words. It's just I want to kind of be a little hippie here and be like,
I know,
hey man,
it's a weird one.
It's just sounds that are coming out of your mouth, man. Why do we got to take it so weird, man?
Yeah,
it's about the intent behind it.
It does, though. It trips me out. It's
sounds coming out of your mouth.
Just the whole concept, right? Yeah. Like every once in a while, language warning right now to start.
Say it.
Every once in a while, you're like, man, people ran around for decades, and their name was Dick. That was their name.
Still, there's
and
still
they were
a couple.
Popular. They were celebrities, right? Mm-hmm. And they were
Dick Clark, Dick Van Dyke.
That was their name.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a word.
And now we can't say
Now that word means something else. So it's like, that's so tough. Mm-hmm. So it's tough for me to key in on words with my kid. I'm with you. It's just a weird conversation to have. It's always like, don't say that. That's how I end it. Sort of like when dinner's ready and they're like playing well outside. I don't know if you do this. And I'm like, dinner's hot. I could eat my dinner. And then they could.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll poke my head out and be like, hey guys, dinner's ready. And I'm like, oh, you guys didn't hear me? And now I'm done. So, okay, yeah, come on. Now you should come in.
Oh, yeah. That's the greatest feeling.
Can't believe you didn't hear me
eating
earlier.
before your kids, yeah.
That's weird. But they're playing well, right? Like, if they were not playing well, you'd be like, all right, stop.
Of course.
Time to eat.
Just a little bit of lightning outside.
Florida. It really is it's a bop. It's a bop. All right. Now we're going to talk about the Bible. After we talked about some really questionable parenting tips, we're going to talk about the Bible. A little segment, like I said, we call Cheat Day Devos. We're diving in. We like to say this at the top. We are not experts. This started to happen about 2 podcasts ago, and
that we admitted we aren't experts.
We were vulnerable. No, I dig it. People were in the comments saying certain podcasts they like where they feel like they get really great Bible teachings. Carry on.
Literally any other one about the Bible is going to give you better.
They weren't saying this. They weren't like piling on. They were just saying like, oh, this is one I like for my Bible stuff. Share it with the fam. Mm-hmm. That's how we do here. We're the cheat day ones. So if you've got one you like, feel free to share in the comments or whatever. But here we're here for giggles. Mm-hmm. We're here for laughs.
It's like going to the Hershey website and being like, hey, let me tell you about Whole Foods.
Sure.
Okay.
Right, you're at Hershey.
That is another option.
You're at Hershey Park even in Pennsylvania. Everyone's like, there's food that doesn't like make you sick into your stomach right away. And someone might be like, oh, cool, tell me more. Feel free. Mm-hmm. Hershey's not offended by that.
No.
Hershey's like, they're going to want a hot fudge sundae here in a second. And then I'm going to have that for them. Yeah. Yeah, they should get a vegetable in there once in a while. Or it's not going to go, they're not going to be a customer for long. Because they're going to get tummy aches. Mm-hmm. Cheat Day Devos, welcome to the pod. If you're here, we're so glad you're here. If you're not here, how are we having this conversation? Sorry. Exodus chapter 9 is where we're picking up. Exodus chapter 9, starting in verse 1. Mm-hmm. Then the Lord said to Moses, go to Pharaoh and say to him, this is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. Let my people go so that they may worship me. If you refuse to let them go and continue to hold them back, the hand of the Lord will bring a terrible plague on your livestock in the field, on your horses, donkeys, and camels, and on your cattle, sheep, and goats. Excuse me. But the Lord will make a distinction between the livestock of Israel and that of Egypt, so that no animal belonging to the Israelites will die.
So finally, God has a filter set up for the plagues.
We started, I think, 2 ago.
Yeah, but but now it's like a default. God's like, oh yeah, I forgot to safeguard you all from this terrible thing.
But it was also like low key. You know what you did. You know what you did. And they were like, okay. Well,
I guess we did get enslaved.
We were not doing great stuff. We'll take 2 plagues. That's enough plagues for us. I don't know how many plagues they got. You can go back and listen. But the filter is up. So the livestock of the Israelites is going to make it through this. The Lord set a time, verse 5, and said, tomorrow the Lord will do this on the land. It's always going to happen tomorrow.
Also, God talking in third person is great. I guess if you're the Trinity.
The Lord set a time and said, tomorrow the Lord will do this in the land. And the next day the Lord did it. And all the livestock of the Egyptians died, but not one animal belonging to the Israelites died. Pharaoh investigated and found that not even one of the animals of the Israelites had died. The 2 words in verse 7, Pharaoh investigated, made me giggle. For some reason, I imagined him kind of sneaking up on an Israelite camel and finding the pulse.
Well, you check it in the hump.
Nope, this one's alive. Guys, I took a closer look. This one's alive. All these camels passed out all around him. Pharaoh investigated and found that not even one of the animals of the Israelites had died. Then that's shocking just because of the amount of animals. You'd think one had it was their time. But even old Billy Goat made it through that day. Yet his heart was unyielding, and he would not let the people go. Verse 8. Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, take handfuls of soot from a furnace and have Moses toss it into the air in the presence of Pharaoh. It will become fine dust over the whole land of Egypt, and festering boils will break out on people and animals throughout the land. I do like that we're back a little bit to the showmanship, right? So the livestock one is just all talking heads, and then but we had the staff with the snake, if you've been following along, and now we're back to some props, and I do like that for me.
I want to know what like Aaron and Moses did at that point with the soot on their hand. Like, did they debate who had to deal with this like black soot on their hand situation? Because as a magician, you like pull a rabbit out of your hat.
Ooh, yeah,
and then you got a rabbit. What do you do with the rabbit? You gotta let it go.
Right.
You can't stuff it back in the hat. That's cruel to the rabbit, probably.
Well, especially when you get this image of like kind of the soot like becoming the problem. And then if it was all over my hands, I feel like I would have kind of like okay, all right, I need this off like right now. This is, everybody's in the boils. I need to get this off. That would have been the old rock, paper, scissors, because I don't want to do the soot.
Right.
I want to be the one that says, that kind of presents. Festering boils will break out on people and animals throughout the land. Egyptian animals are like, what the heck? We didn't do anything. We don't want to be here either. Technically, we're also stuck. Now we got boils. So they took soot from a furnace and stood before Pharaoh. Moses tossed it into the air, and festering boils broke out on people and animals.
Just LeBron James style.
That's what yeah, for sure. That's funny. I didn't think of that in real time, but that is really good.
He is the king.
Ooh.
Let's pray.
Ooh. The magician, verse 11, the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils that were on them and on all the Egyptians. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not listen to Moses and Aaron, just as the Lord had said to Moses. I think if you're a magician, an Egyptian magician, which is a tongue twister, it's got to be tough to like call into work. You know what I mean? It's got to be like the old joke with like the psychic, like, yeah, traffic was really bad. That's why I didn't realize.
Didn't see that one
There was going to be an accident. If you're the Egyptian magician, you're like supposed to fix all the stuff. So if you're like, yeah, I'm sick and I can't fix it.
Right. Can't you just...
I can't. It's two fouls, right? Because now you're using your PTO with your sick days, and then you're also kind of showing you're not good at your job.
Yeah.
Because you can't fix yourself.
Yeah.
So.
But if you're so sick, you can't fix it. That kind of checks out.
Yeah. So they had boils. They couldn't come into work. The magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils that were on them and on all the Egyptians.
Yeah. And then we have God hardening Pharaoh's heart again. Mm-hmm. Like, why is God intentionally making this thing more difficult?
I know.
Why are we doing this? I'm sure there's a theological explanation.
Yeah.
I'm just, come on, practically, God. You set a timer for yourself to do a thing tomorrow, and then you did it. Why would you also put like a roadblock in front of you to keep you from accomplishing what the goal was overall?
And there's a degree where you're like, man, I mean, truly, to not relent at this point is insane. Like, that's crazy. I don't like those words, but it's a very unchosen path. If this decision had warranted this result this many times, you'd think. But then we all know people who love making bad decisions too, and they do it all on their own.
That's right. Let's pray. No, we're not there yet. Okay.
Just keep ending it with a question mark. Let's pray. No. We just started.
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
Sorry. Popcorn.
Then the Lord said, this is verse 13, then the Lord said to Moses, get up early in the morning, confront Pharaoh, and say to him, this is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says, let my people go, so that they may worship me. Or this time I will send the full force of my plagues against you and against your officials and your people. This would be a fun, like, if you were reading the Bible for the first time, or this is like, this podcast is your like first foray into this, what a setup to go like, man, okay, so we're pretty deep into the plagues at this point, and this is set up with like, this is the full force of the plagues about to come out. And you're like, we already did a river of blood. We already did like frogs and like all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we read, so we know. But I'm curious if you're a first-time reader, what your guess would be. Full force my plague against you and against your officials and your people, so you may know that there's no one like me in all the earth. For by now I could have stretched out my hand and struck you and your people with a plague that would have wiped you off the earth. But I have raised you up for this purpose, that I might show you my power and that my name might be proclaimed in all the earth. You still set yourself against my people and will not let them go. Verse 18. Therefore, at this time... tomorrow, I will send the worst hailstorm that has ever fallen on Egypt from the day it was founded till now. Hailstorm. That's the full force of the plagues.
Well, that's the beginning of the full force. You can't just jump into full force.
Listen, at first I was kind of like...
But you hear about we're going to hear about the hailstorm in a second.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get through it.
It's not a weak hailstorm. It's not a hailstorm like we've experienced. And I've been in a couple. They're crazy.
Okay. All right. Let's get all the way through this section. Tomorrow, I'll send the worst hailstorm that's ever fallen on Egypt from the day it was founded till now. Give an order now to bring your livestock and everything you have in the field to a place of shelter, because the hail will fall on every person and animal that has not been brought in and is still out in the field, and they will die. I almost wonder if the livestock mentioned there is like a little, because the livestock have not been doing so well in this chapter.
Well, right, but he's saying it to the Israelite people.
He's reminding them.
Yeah, it's like, hey, just so you know, I didn't put a filter on this next one. Like, you got to bring them in.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't have a blanket to put over them.
Right.
If they're outside,
okay,
you got to bring them in.
Got it. Everything you have in the field to a place of shelter, because the hail will fall on every person and on every person and animal that has not been brought in and is still out in the field, and they will die. Those officials of Pharaoh who feared the word of the Lord hurried to bring their slaves and their livestock inside. But those who ignored the word of the Lord left their slaves and livestock in the field. Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand toward the sky so that hail will fall all over Egypt, on people and animals and on everything growing in the fields of Egypt. When Moses stretched out his staff toward the sky, the Lord sent thunder and hail and lightning. Okay, I love practically thinking about these moments too. So in this one I got Moses like right outside the door. Like, hey, you can't do all the warning stuff and then be like, oh yeah, go to the middle of the field and put your staff up. Like, right. I don't want to get caught in this either. So maybe he's like a window. Maybe he's out the window.
That's funny. I kind of thought the same thing. Like, you're out there, but you're like, but I don't want to keep my hands up to do this. Where am I supposed to be?
You can't like hide under a staff either. No. Like there's not much there. So, verse 23, when Moses stretched out his staff toward the sky, the Lord sent thunder and hail, and lightning flashed down to the ground. So the Lord rained hail on the land of Egypt. Hail fell, and lightning flashed back and forth. It was the worst storm in all the land of Egypt since it had become a nation. Throughout Egypt, hail struck everything in the fields, both people and animals, beat down everything growing in the fields, and stripped every tree. The only place it did not hail was the land of Goshen, where the Israelites were. So they didn't really have to take their animals in.
But the fields, they were... Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, you're...
Again, we're not trying to learn something.
We
here.
didn't act. We weren't. So I'm saying, yeah, Floridians, we get hail occasionally. I've been in some hailstorms, and it is like I said at the beginning, when you think like full force of the plagues, you're like, I wonder what it is. Hail's horrifying. Like if you've ever been in a car and you're like, oh, it looks like it's raining, and then it's like, bah, 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 and you're like, what do I do right now? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm being pelted from the sky. Mm-hmm. And that's usually hail that's like...
little guys.
Dissipating as soon as it hits the car. They're just it's just a little bit of frozen rain.
No, I've been around these like kind of more like ping pong ball size things.
For real? In Nashville?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's scary. And like all the cars around are all damaged and stuff.
Right. It's just falling from the sky. Yeah. What are you going to do?
But if you're in the desert and you're getting some ice cubes, finally... Yeah, how were they keeping their drinks cold?
Slushies could be made. You could take some in the jar and take them inside.
Right.
Yeah. Repurpose.
It's not all bad.
I also wanted to note back in 21, you had those who ignored the word of the Lord about the forthcoming storm, and that really hit home for Floridians and hurricanes.
Oh, for sure.
They're like, you gotta get out of here. You gotta get out of here. There's a huge storm coming. Please get out of here. You got like 8 days, guys. There's a big storm. It is going to hit this area. Please get out. Day of storm, cut to
shirtless guy out in his yard.
living in a house up there, it's completely flooded. I don't know what I'm gonna do now. Broski, we all tried to tell you, and I realize it's not easy. You might not have all the faculties, but typically it's like on the beach, and you don't want to be out there.
Mm-hmm. Florida.
Yeah, I think hail is scary. I think hail checks as the full force because that would be a significant, huge hailstorm. I would be really, really horrifying. Mm-hmm. Hot take. Verse 27. Then Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron. This time I have sinned, he said to them. The Lord is in the right, and I and my people are in the wrong. Pray to the Lord, for we have had enough thunder and hail. I'll let you go. You don't have to stay any longer. This to me has all the ring of like a very toxic person who's learned some like formatting for how to do an apology. And he denying that I did something wrong. He does find a way to indict I and all my people. They were here too, don't forget. It wasn't just me. I mean, I was making the decisions and they were just suffering the consequences, but it was me and all my people and we did the wrong thing. Verse 29, Moses replied, when I have gone out of the city, I will spread out my hands in prayer to the Lord. The thunder will stop and there will be no more hail. So you may know that the earth is the Lord's. But I know that you and your officials still do not fear the Lord God. And that to me is confirmation to my earlier suspicion. Mm-hmm. You're like, I know you actually haven't changed, Brad.
Right. We've also heard this version of the story about 12 times. So Moses has to see it coming.
Right.
I was thinking about like when Pharaoh summoned Moses in during the storm. Like, where did he summon him from? Because he couldn't have been like, he had to be in the palace or something, I guess. Or in, like a waiting room or something. Because if he's outside... If he's being summoned from another place, then he's going to have to walk through with his little hail umbrella.
Maybe he met him down by the... I mean, Pharaoh's still going to go to the river every morning when he wakes
it's still
up.
hailing. That's what I'm saying. It's still happening.
He's not going to miss that river appointment. And Moses, he just meet me down by the river.
It's still happening. He's going to die.
Meet me at our spot. No, fair question. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there were breaks. Maybe the hail came in waves.
I don't think so.
Who knows?
I don't think so.
Verse 31.
Water comes in waves.
And sound. Verse 31. The flax and barley were destroyed, since the barley had headed and the flax was in bloom. The wheat and spelt, however, were not destroyed, because they ripen later. Fun fact, those two verses were my go-to memory verses that I would recite in children's church.
I feel like that was included because it was like an old man writing about instructions on how to like take care of wheat and spelt. It's just like kids these days don't know anything about spelt or flax. Ugh, kids.
Moses was like, I don't know that I need to include that. And the old guy was like,
put it in.
I'm telling you, those kids, man, they don't even know when the crops be coming in. I just got the funniest image in those two verses because you just get used to Bible verses and like you're like John 3:16. But I thought, how funny would that be if you're like, can anyone do a verse from memory? And they were like, the flax and the barley were destroyed. Since the barley had headed and the flax was in bloom. The wheat and spelt, however, were not destroyed because they ripen later.
Well, that's why I got that verse tattooed on my wrist. It's just a life, kind of a life meaningful thing.
If 100 people like this post, I will get that verse tattooed.
Yes!
That's not true.
Do it. He said it. He said it, even though he said it's not true afterward. I'm going to hold him to it.
The wheat and spelt, however,
I'm going to do it.
were not destroyed. Then Moses left.
We also need you to contribute like $1. So if you like it, then contribute $1, and then we're going to get Anthony a tattoo, his first tattoo, and it's going to have to do
back with wheat and spelt.
We're going to need like
growing. Let's
say the amount of people that we have contributing $1, and I don't know how we do this, but I'm making the rules now.
Yeah, go ahead.
That'll determine the size of the tattoo that Anthony gets. So like, $50 will get you just like that.
A little guy.
Just a little guy.
Yeah.
But if we can get $1,000, we can get Anthony a full back tat.
Which we're all hoping for.
I'm going to hold him to it.
Verse 33, then Moses left Pharaoh and went out of the city. He spread out his hand toward the Lord. The thunder and hail stopped, and the rain no longer poured down on the land. When Pharaoh saw that the rain and hail and thunder had stopped, he sinned again. He and his officials hardened their hearts. So Pharaoh's heart was hard, and he would not let the Israelites go, just as the Lord had said through Moses.
Never saw it coming.
Can't believe that plot twist. Exodus 10, then the Lord said to Moses, go to Pharaoh, for I... See, this is what is... You get the tense changing there. The end of one is... So when Pharaoh saw he sinned again, he and his officials hardened their hearts. And then one, you say, I have hardened his heart. In the heart of his officials, so that I may perform these signs of mine among them, that you may tell your children and grandchildren how I dealt harshly with the Egyptians and how I performed my signs among them, that you may know that I am the Lord.
So what it is God has now admitted, I'm doing this so I can show off some more tricks. It's in the Bible. I think that's the it's the Message version.
This is typically if you're not sure where it is. It's in the Message. Exodus 10:1. This is an interesting flow to me because the Lord says this to Moses: go to Pharaoh because I hardened his heart, and you can and he kind of gives him some context. So Moses takes that and is like, all right, I'll go to Pharaoh. So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said to him in verse 3, this is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews says, how long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go so that they may worship me. If you refuse to let them go, I'll bring locusts into your country tomorrow. They'll cover the face of the ground so that it cannot be seen. They will devour what little you have left after the hail, including every tree that's growing in your fields. They will fill your houses and all those of all your officials, of all the Egyptians, something neither your parents nor your ancestors have ever seen from the day they settled in this land till now. And that's just a big jump from God being like, hey, go to Pharaoh because we got to do another thing. And then Moses was like, there's just a little bit of me that did Moses.
He's mad.
Is he riffing a little bit now? Mm-hmm. He's like, and then maybe it's not true. Maybe God's like, oh, I mean, we already did the gnats. We've done bugs. No, okay, sure. Yeah, okay. You said locusts. Yeah, we'll do.
Bigger bugs? Sure.
It's kind of like a mix between the gnat and the frog, but yeah, that's fine. We'll make that work. So they get the locusts. Moses turned and left Pharaoh. Pharaoh's officials said to him, how long will this man be a snare to us? Let the people go so that they may worship the Lord their God. Do you not yet realize that Egypt is ruined? Verse 7's a great verse. Because you're playing this in your head, right? Like all these terrible plagues happening.
Right, and Pharaoh's going, yeah, but if we let the cleanup crew go early,
right, then
we have to clean it up. So let's just hold out till all the plagues are done.
Right.
I think it's funny that he hasn't killed Moses yet. That would be my go-to. Because every time Moses comes in the room and raises his hand, something crappy happens.
Well, you suggested that maybe he's like low-key recruiting him, which I think is a great theory based on the material. I wonder if there's a fear, if you're like, well, geez, what if I
Right, but how bad can it get? I'm going to kill the guy.
Right. It also has all the energy of a poker hand that's gotten away from you. And you're like, and they kept raising the bet, and you kept raising the bet, and now, and the person you're playing against is like, no, I have I have 4 aces. They're showing everybody. Isn't this funny? I have all the aces in my hand. But you're like, I bet this far. Mm-hmm. I got 3 threes. Maybe. Huh? It's like, no, the outcome, we know. We know. But he's holding out. Pharaoh's officials said to him, that was verse 7, verse 8, then Moses and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh. Go worship the Lord your God, he said, but tell me who will be going. Moses answered, we will go with our young and our old, with our sons and our daughters, and with our flocks and herds, because we are to celebrate a festival of the Lord. Pharaoh said, the Lord be with you. If I let you go, along with your women and children, clearly you are bent on evil. I think I said primarily I read from the NIV. And this threw me for a loop. I had to read this a couple times. Because it's like, Pharaoh said, the Lord be with you. You're kind of like, oh, let him go. But then you actually read it, and it's more like screw that is really what he meant by that statement.
Yeah.
Lord be with you. If I let you go along with your women and children, clearly you're bent on evil. No, have only the men go and worship the Lord, since that's what you've been asking for. Then Moses and Aaron were driven out of Pharaoh's presence. So the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand over Egypt so that the locusts swarm all over the land and devour everything growing in the fields, everything left by the hail. So Moses does that. Moses stretched out his hand over Egypt. The Lord makes the east wind blow across that land all day and all night. By morning, the wind had brought the locusts. They invaded all Egypt, settled down on every area of the country in great numbers. Never before had there ever been such a plague of locusts, nor will there ever be again. Does everybody have those?
It's what we know it because of the rainbow. We'll never have another plague of locusts like this again.
We got those daubers. Does everybody have really big, hideous grasshoppers? Is that a Florida thing?
I think it's just a Florida thing.
Florida. That's the name of this podcast. This episode.
Yeah, I know they have an official name, but they're like the size of little mice. They're disgusting.
Yeah, they're like, I think they're called daubers. Something daubers. And they're not native, and they're very gross.
Yeah, you have to kill them.
You're literally supposed to, because they're not native.
Well, I didn't know this as a kid, but I used to hit them with a golf club.
Why? You don't have to include the first part. You can just say, I was clearing the land of species.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, I didn't know I was doing such good. But I also was a kid, and I was torturing a poor ant. Like, it wasn't much of a torture.
It's a difference between you sounding like a planet, Captain Planet, and a psychopath.
Well, yeah. I know what I'm admitting here.
Just tell the people.
It's a psycho kid. Look out for me.
Just tell the people you knew the damage they were doing to your delicate ecosystem.
I knew the damage they were doing to my delicate Florida ecosystem.
The locusts invade all Egypt. They settled down in great numbers. They covered all the ground until it was black. Verse 15. They devoured all that was left after the hail, everything growing in the fields and the fruit on the trees. Nothing green remained on tree or plant in all the land of Egypt.
I don't think I really understood any of this as a kid. Like, you hear about plagues as a kid. These are just fun Bible stories, you know?
Right.
Until I lived through the cicadas in Nashville in 2010.
What happened in 2010?
If you've been the cicadas, that's what happened.
What was unique in 2010 about the cicadas?
They come in like year swarm. It's like every 17 years. It depends on the brood. Do you not know this? So there's like
not like this. So we get them like every summer here.
Yeah, you get a couple.
Yeah,
but like I'm talking swarms. It happened this last year, I think. Where just the sky, it's covered, like they're in the trees. They come out of the ground to mate.
Yeah,
find new little buddies.
They have like 24 hours, right? Like they're underground and then they're alive. Like
yeah, maybe each one, but it's like it'll be like 2 weeks or 3 weeks where like there's just a million of them. And the sound when you go outside is deafening. It's loud all the time. They're attracted to people who are if you're mowing the lawn, like lawn equipment, anything like buzzing like that, they'll come and swarm that. And so you see guys, there's videos of guys like mowing the lawn and they're just covered in them. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Oh,
and you can't go outside. And the birds are just having a heyday. Like, there's food all over the place.
Eating them. Yeah, I thought again. You're not here for like our deep theological thoughts, but typically you can rely on us for really sound biology. Mm-hmm. I want to say they're like underground, and then they have like 24 hours each individual one to like reproduce, live your life, and then they die. If the birds don't get them, they just die. Like they cannot live above ground more than like 2 days.
Sure,
it's a crazy life the cicadas live. Like it's wild.
They are getting it on for a significant percentage of their life.
I saw somebody say, they were like, if you were above ground for that was your whole life, you'd be screaming the whole time too. You're just yelling. Because what else can you do at this time? Cicadas are wild. I didn't know that happened in Nashville. Yeah, we get them here like in the South. I don't want to speak for the whole South. I know in Florida, they're in the summertime, you'll hear them. A lot of them is weird and eerie because it's dark and it's just a sound.
Well, yeah, and I know that about summertime here, but this is like all day long. I'll see if I can dig up some old pictures. Yeah, it's nasty.
Pharaoh quickly summoned Moses and Aaron, verse 16, and said, "I've sinned against the Lord your God and against you." This is a real apology. This is a Danny Tanner.
He means it.
Music shift. Mm-hmm. He's down on a knee. Now forgive my sin once more and pray to the Lord your God to take this deadly plague away from me. It's wild to me, the plagues that make Pharaoh feel real bad and the ones that don't. But he was apparently like you. He did not care for the locusts at all.
The locusts are a deadly plague, but the softball-sized hail coming at your head.
Right. Oh, River's blood? Please, give me my crossword. Moses then left Pharaoh and prayed to the Lord, and the Lord changed the wind to a very strong west wind, which caught up the locusts and carried them into the Red Sea. Not a locust was left anywhere in Egypt, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let the Israelites go. Stop me if you've heard that before. Verse 21. Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand toward the sky so that darkness spreads over Egypt, darkness that can be felt. And I think that's a verse that people skip over. That's a horrifying sentiment.
It doesn't, I guess.
Dark, like felt darkness.
Well, yeah. But like, I guess I'm not as scared of it as you are.
You get up at night to go to the bathroom and it's like, it's dark. I can't really see much, but I kind of know where my stuff is. I don't feel the darkness on my skin.
Right, but if you've ever been in an eclipse, and I have. I hate to make this whole podcast about me.
Oh my gosh. Here we go.
When you're in an eclipse, like all of a sudden it goes dark, and then it's like, oh wait, it's noticeably cold.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Oh, okay. So you're saying maybe it's just like a temperature shift.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah, when you're in a cave dark is also a different kind of dark. Mm-hmm. When you're like, oh, wow.
Also, like if you're driving like 100 miles an hour in the middle of Texas, and then you turn off, and it's midnight, and you turn off the headlights, and then
this is a dark thing you did.
Exactly, dark.
Why?
That's the theme.
Why were you doing
It's just for a second. Come on, people have done it. It's like a 20-something-year-old.
Just trying to feel alive?
Yeah. It's wild.
No, I would never.
I know
I'm
you
not a
wouldn't.
drive
You
fast
won't
guy.
even get the little barley tattoo.
I don't like dark stuff. I'll say it. I'm not a huge fan of the dark. I'm not afraid of the dark.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I am a little afraid of the dark. Who likes it being dark outside?
Well, no, nobody. I mean, some people.
Bats.
So
Moses stretched out his hand toward the sky, and total darkness covered all Egypt for 3 days. No one can see anyone else or move about for 3 days. They could, maybe with a Marco Polo system, they could have problem solved a little. Yet all the Israelites had light in the places where they lived. So the filter.
That's how, right. So the power grid worked.
Then Pharaoh. It's all Florida experiences. When your street has the power, and you have that weird feeling of like, you guys, 2 weeks you haven't?
Oh, yeah.
What about us? It's hot outside. So there's that. That's how our power comes back in Florida after the hurricanes, is street by street. If you've never enjoyed that lovely experience. Pharaoh summoned Moses and said, go, worship the Lord. Even your women and children may go with you. Only leave your flocks and herds behind. But Moses said, you must allow us to have sacrifices and burnt offerings to present to the Lord our God. Our livestock too must go with us. Not a hoof is to be left behind. That is verse 26.
Not a hoof.
If you think I'm making that up, I'm not. Not a hoof is to be left behind. What a great line. Good. Of course, everything was dark, so... Maybe after that line, Pharaoh's like, I can't tell if you're serious with that. Is that a joke? We have to use some of them in worshiping the Lord our God, and until we get there, we will not know what we are to use to worship the Lord. The back and forths here are classic. So good. We don't know till the last second, so we got to bring all of them.
To be fair, that's how my wife packs, like for a trip. I didn't know, so I had to bring 3 suitcases.
Well, how many sheep are we supposed to sacrifice? We better bring every one of them.
Right. Like we're going like to Georgia for a week. It's not that far. Yeah, but what if it's cold? It's not gonna be. What if it rains? Okay, then bring the rain jacket. Yeah, but then the boots and the rain pants, and then the rain shirt and the rain hat. And then the other boots. Well, I should probably bring a sweater too. And I guess maybe a jacket just in case.
Right. Yeah. But if it's hot, you want your suit. You want your bathing suit. You don't want to get somewhere.
But what if I don't want just that bathing? What if it's hot 2 days? Then I need to have 2 bathing suits. This is what happens.
That loses me. Multiple bathing suit packers. I can't really track.
Come on.
What if it hasn't dried? Bathing suit.
Well, right. But what if it didn't dry from the day before?
What am I doing?
You're gonna put on a wet bathing suit?
I'm putting on a wet bathing. I'm going to get in a pool.
You're sick.
I am not packing more than one bathing suit ever.
No, see, that's a plague that I want out of. Wet bathing suits all around.
I'm alone in this, or at least I'm not. Not everyone is like that. But that is the funniest sounding thing to me. You should bring more than one bathing suit. What if you it's like bringing more than one big jacket to me?
Well, no.
If it's cold tomorrow, I will wear the same big jacket.
Yes, but if you want to wear a bathing suit to somewhere when you're not ready to be wet yet, and you go to like a restaurant,
I wake up in the morning ready to be wet.
That's our time, folks.
That's how focused I am on being productive.
That's our sound clip.
But Moses said, no hoof left behind, verse 26. I'm going to read it again just so we memorize. Our livestock too must go with us. Not a hoof is to be left behind. That's a better tattoo. Not a hoof is to be left behind.
Okay, let's do it.
We have to use some of them in worshiping the Lord our God, and until we get there, we will not know what we are to use for worshiping the Lord. Oh yeah, I also did, like I mentioned the animals earlier. I like the no hoof left behind, and the sheep are getting wind of this. Like, yeah, thank you. Fine. See, the Egyptian, you guys are all getting left out to dry over here. Look at our guy up there fighting for us. And then he's like, well, just because we don't know how many of them we're gonna have to kill.
Oh.
But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he was not willing to let them go.
What?
Pharaoh said to Moses, get out of my sight. Make sure you... It's dark. I just realized that. That line did not hit the way you wanted. Pharaoh said to Moses, get out of my sight. And then he'd like long pause. Can anyone tell if he's gone? He's gone, right? Was it? I'm sorry. I did leave, but I forgot my stuff. Get out of my sight. To be fair, I'm out of your sight right now.
Right. You didn't say get out of your earshot.
See me.
Yeah.
I know you're there. Get out of my sight. Make sure you do not appear before me again. The day you see my face, you will die. He's talking to Moses. I don't want to see you.
Over here.
In this. I don't want to see you. It went on and on. Just as you say, Moses replied, I will never appear before you again. Vanished. Soot. Where did the lighter fluid come from? Oh gosh, that's really tickling me. The end of this was great. Not a hoof left behind, and get out of my sight in the middle of the plague of darkness.
Okay, what's it gonna take to get you the no hoof left behind tattoo though? Like, what can I work out with our listeners to do?
Yeah.
Like, is it sponsor if we get 100 sponsorships of kids?
Oh
like,
dang, that would be cool.
That would be a good cause.
That would be cool.
I think it'd be easier to just get them to donate the money.
I'm picturing a hoof, like a hoof, and then the verse goes around. No hoof left behind. Yeah, there you go.
And then like a rainbow to say that we'll never have these locust plagues again.
these hoof issues
I
again.
can design it for you.
It's coming together in my head pretty good.
I did my
At
NASCAR
least that
run.
should be that should be like a sticker or a shirt or something. That's good.
The tattoo, I think, is appropriate.
Well, I mean, and a tattoo. We'll figure out the terms. But
who figured it out?
Who told the cookie from the cookie jar? Man, that was great. What'd you learn today?
What I learned is that living in Florida really is like living in all the plagues. They just happen.
Shades of all the plagues
over the course of the year.
Yeah.
And that's why we are who we are.
Gosh, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
And we still haven't let anybody go.
No, shades of plagues.
Shades of plagues down here in Florida.
That should be our state flag.
Just like a little bit.
Shades of plagues.
Like a little sampler of all the plagues. Yeah. You get a little bit of it.
Uh-huh. Well, we have frogs. We have lizards that fall from the trees when it gets too cold.
Yeah.
Shades of plagues.
It has hail deer. The darkness, maybe not so much. I mean, at night.
Yeah, we do.
It's so rare here.
We do get nighttime.
It is
about
nighttime.
Once a day.
At nighttime. That's good. Man, I really like this observation about Pharaoh saying, "Get out of my sight," in a plague of darkness. And that, well, I don't know what I learned from that. It's really going to stick with me because that is just peak. I love that.
Pure comedy.
It's so good. Get out of my sight. I love when you make these little disguises. It's truly what I love about this podcast because I would not have noticed that.
Tell me more about what you love about this podcast.
This is the best podcast. Tell us what you liked. What did you learn today?
Don't answer that.
Really? That's great. Thanks for sharing.
Nobody said anything.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. But if you put it in the comments, we could see it. Tell us what you learned about Exodus 9 and 10 today.
This isn't homework. You don't have to answer this.
You don't have to.
You can just enjoy it.
Tim mentioned, and it is an important thing to reiterate, we are working with Compassion International this year, the year of our Lord, 2025, to try to get 100 kids from Brazil sponsored. What is a sponsorship, you ask? Well, it's
what is a sponsorship?
It's like a small monthly payment. I think it's about $40. Should have looked that up before I started talking. And it provides food. It provides education. Provides all kinds of great stuff for these kids in Brazil and helps them to just be able to grow and develop and learn and have all these great opportunities.
And be alive. That's one of the things that I strive to do every day.
Yeah.
Just be alive.
And you're doing great today.
Thanks,
I meant
man.
to tell you that.
Appreciate that.
You can get more information, compassion.com/BibleIsFunny. I'll put that link in the show notes. And if you do sponsor a kid from Brazil, and we would love that if you did, give us a shout, and we would love to shout you out on the podcast.
And then I think we just need one more, and Anthony's getting his tattoo.
Tim points this out a lot. You don't have to do that. You can just do that and make a great impact on this kid's life. But we'd love to just say thanks. So if you do that, let us know. And we'll be back here with another podcast real soon, Tim. Any last words for the people?
Florida.
Bum, 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 bum. Bye.
See ya.